It's time now for the Sports Objective Podcast. No talking heads, just guys who love sports. Here's Dave Richmond.
Welcome into the Sports Objective Podcast as we wrap up another week. And Bubba Rosenbaum, I know that we have the wrap up now. Welcome into the show. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Hope you guys are.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he needs no introduction. The man, Kyle from LaGrange Barber. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Dave?
We have a very special guest. Kyle, do you want to introduce him?
Yeah, we have former East Carolina tight end and current ESPN analyst, Jay Sonnhalter.
Hey, that's awesome. Jason is here. How we doing?
Yeah. No, it's of course Jay Sonnhalter.
Jay, how you doing, man?
I go by either one. I like them both. I am good. I'm good. Thanks so much, guys, for having me on. It's great. Hey, I'll tell you what. Y'all are doing a hell of a job, and I listen all the time. But what y'all do, it's something that like everybody really appreciates and everyone enjoys. So, thank you to you guys. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah,
hey, as I'm sitting here listening to you, Jay, this is totally off topic, and maybe I should mention it off the air. But can you do an impersonation of Hulk Hogan?
I've never tried it.
There's something about your voice.
That's your homework. That's his homework.
Hey, there's no time like the present.
Well, no.
Wait, are we taping this now or no?
We are.
Delete all this now.
Perhaps should be off the air, but there's something about your voice that reminds me of Hulk Hogan's voice. Do you guys hear it?
A little bit. He said he can say his prayers and take the vitamins.
Well, look, let me tell you something. I do impersonations all the time, so I'm really good at picking up that crap. You could do Hogan's voice if you wanted to.
What do you want me to say, brother?
Yeah, let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
That was pretty good. Without you even trying, that was pretty good.
I was trying, kind of, but.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Without really rehearsing it, doing it right for our first shot, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it's on the spot. Yeah.
I'll get better. Next show, I'll try to improve.
Bubba, write that down for the notes. We need to make sure that he knows to.
Practice your Hulk Hogan. You can put that on your.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna watch.
And then you can add it to your resume, Jay. I do Hulk Hogan impersonations on the podcast.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Whenever you do the broadcast, the ESPN, you can do some Hulk Hogan for him.
Yeah. It's funny. People actually make fun of me, like my voice being like deep and stuff. People make fun of me all the time. So,
oh wow!
It's nice to get a compliment. Thank you, guys.
No problem.
No doubt about it. So, Jay, I tell you what, Pirates lose 34-6, but just like we were talking about on your former stopping rounds, 94-3 the game, I really felt way different about the game, obviously from December 1st, not because the score was closer, but I felt like there were some bright spots for the game in Raleigh yesterday in your hometown. What did you think?
I mean, the same thing that you just said, I agree with you 100%. Like, obviously, we want to win the game. It's disappointing, and, especially against NC State, that sucks. It tears you up. But the feeling that I have is I know this program is on the way. I know that, days are going to be different moving forward, that it's going to take some time to get everything turned around. But, I have confidence that this program is going the right way because of the coaching, because of what I saw, just because of everything we already know. And the thing is, in prior years, that isn't even if we won a game, I knew things weren't going the right way.
Exactly.
But it's amazing in a loss. I feel great about, knowing that Coach Houston, that staff, and everybody involved is going to get turned around.
And you noticed that, Kyle, that when we were talking about that very thing, about how with Montgomery every year, 16, 17, 18, the fact that we were playing NC State, your rival, right? There were bright spots. The first quarter, Holton had that where he's – in fact, by the way, before I forget, I got to get props because I do. We were talking about – Kyle brought up on the last podcast. He was talking about the favorite plays or the plays and he said that Holton would be the one –
Oh, yeah. I'd asked who was going to score the first touchdown of the year for the Pirates, and I said Holton Ahlers on the quarterback keeper, and that should have been what happened.
Yeah.
Right now, nobody has scored the first touchdown of the year for the Pirates.
I know. I was saying I was giving you props for the play call.
Holton Ahlers, by the way. I could still be right. So, if he gets in there, I don't know how much it changes the results of the ball game. I do think that he would have played with a lot more confidence the rest of the game had he got it in the end zone. You put that on the board, we got 13 points. And I'll venture to say, had we scored there, I bet you we would have scored one more time, too, because I think we would have had some confidence. Yeah. But then all of a sudden you got 20 points. And if we lost that game 30, what was it, 34-6? So had we lost at 34-20, you talk about feeling good today, we would have felt really good after a loss. But I do think the defense lacks talent and depth. I mean, not only we've had guys suspended,
right.
Colby Gore got suspended yesterday,
which is ridiculous. Yeah,
we lack a lot of talent on that side of the ball. I thought they did as well as they could. They were in position all day to make plays. They tackled pretty well. I thought the defense played as well as they could on offense. And now I don't think we're going to see a defense. I think Cincinnati, maybe UCF and Temple will have defenses close to good as NC State. So we're not going to see very many defenses that good the rest of the year. I was disappointed in the offense. I thought not being able to get a running game going at all was disappointing. I don't know why we didn't run Holton Ahlers more. That surprised me that we didn't have more design runs for Holton. I don't know if that fumble early had something to do with that, or maybe Coach was worried that State would be really aggressive with tackling him and trying to hurt him. I don't know.
I was going to bring up another point too to you guys is the very fact of my coach said when I was younger, we were seniors. He said if I can lose with seniors, I can lose with sophomores. I really believe, and I want to get you guys' take on it, no excuses out there at all. But when you see guys like Colby Gore getting suspended yesterday, it goes back to Coach Houston. Basically what's happening is these, Jay, you can, and Bubba, you can talk about it, be former players, but these younger players are hungry. They know that guy's a winner. They love Coach Houston, even though some of them he recruited, I guess, towards the end of the 2019 class. But the younger guys are getting this guy. They're getting Mike Houston. They don't know any better, right? But you got Colby Gore and a lot of these guys that, and I'm not picking on him. I heard about him about a month ago at the beginning of fall camp. These guys are bucking up against Houston. Some of him, just like him, they said they're going to be lucky to be on the team because they're still tapping out. They learned all those bad habits through Montgomery. These young guys who have talent are being coached up now. And I tell you what, guys, if you're going to lose, give the guys with experience, give the younger guys with talent, give them experience, and let them play over guys that are just going to tap out after a couple plays.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely. I mean, I think that's a thing where if it's close, they're going to go with the younger players, or they need to go with the younger players to give them the experience and bring in the guys that were recruited in that short amount of time by Coach Houston, or the guys that they were under Montgomery that are still younger, give them an opportunity to grow, develop, and get that experience. And the other takeaway I have, and agreeing with y'all on the talent part of it, I think there's definitely areas where there needs to be more talent, and once we get into league play, the level of competition will come down. A lot of those teams in the AAC won't be as good as NC State, but I still think we're going to be 2-3 years away from really getting the talent level back up, just because the recruiting was so bad under Montgomery. But I think the thing that I'm really excited about is once we start getting the rest of the schedule, we have great coaches, and they're going to overcome some of the talent deficiencies we have, and we'll be able to stay in games or win games maybe where we don't have as much talent as another team because of the coaching staff.
Yeah, and we have some winnable games coming up. You got Gardner Webb, you got William & Mary, you got Old Dominion. South Florida looked like hot garbage. You get with Wisconsin the other night, 49-0. Connecticut is terrible. Tulsa's winnable. There's some games out there that I could see us even after yesterday. I still think 6-6 is a realistic possibility.
Yes, like I've said, you guys between Jay on this podcast, the three guys, we said 5 to 7 wins, and I think that's very attainable. And Old Dominion, unless that was their, they took Norfolk State for granted. They barely beat Norfolk State yesterday. We have way more talent than Norfolk State, or you would think we would. Maybe they took them for granted. I mean, no, I'm trying to be nice, but we have more talent than Norfolk State. So unless they played the opening game jitters, they played their terrible game, I really believe, I'm not saying we're going to blow them out, but I really believe we can win that game. You look at the William and Mary game, they're decent in FCS, but they still don't have the talent we do. Gardner Webb lost Thursday night 49-28 against Charlotte. Bubba, didn't you say they had 320 yards of rushing? Charlotte did?
Yeah, they ran for something like 322 or something against Gardner Webb, and that was a game. It was 49-28, but it really wasn't as close as the score would lead you to believe. It was 35-14 at halftime, and one of those 2 touchdowns for Gardner Webb was a 99-yard kickoff return by a true freshman wide receiver. So that's something to keep an eye on. And that,
don't kick to him.
That Coach Tesh will certainly have the special teams attention even more this week. But yeah, Charlotte controlled the football game from start to finish, and yeah, certainly had their way with Gardner Webb.
Yeah, speaking of special teams, Jay, yesterday that was a highlight to me of the game. Yes. I thought our special teams was excellent.
Yeah, and that again that goes back to discipline and coaching. Teams that are bad on special teams, usually aren't well coached or disciplined. But the fact that we're doing it on the third phase of the game like that shows that we're getting it done with the coaching staff, and that's going to hopefully win us games too.
Yep. Most definitely. I was really happy, Jay, with Tyler Sneed. I joked yesterday on 94.3 the game that he's 5'7" with heels. They haven't listed 5'7". I was standing near him at one of the scrimmages of fall camp, and he's probably 5'5", maybe 5'6". It really doesn't matter. But my point is, he is fast as lightning. I love that kid. I love the fact it's a blue-collar kid that he comes in and gets a scholarship. So looking forward to having him on there, and especially on punt returns. It's nice to see him trying to make an effort there to get more yardage, and it'll shorten up the field. It helps out the offense for sure. And we were talking last night. I think there's a chance that guy could run one back or two or three.
Well, he came close yesterday, Davey. He ran that one back to around the 10 or wherever it was. And had the block in the back penalty. But here's what it is.
ACC officials.
Yeah, it was a block in the back. It was a legit call, but you hate to see it.
No, guys, speaking of the kicking game, as far as the actual kicking...
And by the way, Dave, that was an American officiating crew.
That was American? Well, they're both there. We actually, that's really not fair but we share the same officials with the ACC, so anyway, but go ahead.
Speaking of the kicking game, and the actual kicking side of things, and you had Jake Verity knock in a 47-yarder, then the 31-yarder at the end. He did miss a 52-yarder.
Yeah.
But which is well within his range. It was wide right, and then what a job John Young did punting the football.
Oh my God, yeah.
7 punts. He averaged 49 with a long of 58.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Did you see us get down there one time, Bubba? We came close to down and won at the 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hats off to Roy Tesh, though. He really has done an excellent job, and that's something that they pride themselves apparently on wherever Coach Houston's been, is on special teams. And Jay, I tell you what, the recruiting job that you were talking about, the recruiting job that Houston's doing is probably no offense to Ruff and I love Ruff, but I think this is probably the best recruiting that we've had since your coach, Coach Holtz?
Yeah. I mean, I think Holtz was outstanding recruiting, and he brought in a lot of guys that, like, when they're freshmen, they're maybe 6'4", 215. When they left, they're 6'4", 260, and then they got better as players. So he really did a great job identifying guys and building them up. And with Coach Houston, I mean, I'm just excited because he's going to do everything the right way. And this recruiting that he's doing now, I mean, he's gonna get the top guys that we need to stay at home. He's gonna get them to stay.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm excited about that.
You know, Dave Doran, people have talked about how he's a great job he's done recruiting. I think now that a new sheriff in town with Mike Houston, East Carolina, if there are people that are the top level guys east of 95 are going to start staying with Houston because we're going to start winning a ton of games again.
Yeah, hopefully. It'll take time. But he's doing a good job recruiting the entire East Coast from Maryland to Florida. He's hit South Carolina hard. Really done a good job down there in South Carolina. So it's not just Eastern North Carolina, but you would like to get to a point where you kind of have a blanket over everything east I-95.
Yeah, and another thing that you mentioned, Kyle, we've talked about on this podcast is to temper the for people that are casual fans or the people that don't know anything about, I guess, sports that see the score. Yesterday was even a bright spot with the score as we talked about 34-6. But you know something else is the very fact that we were talking about going in the right direction. Well, if you don't see what was that quote that Houston said the post game, Kyle, yesterday?
If you've already, he was asked about the fans being down or something to that effect after the NC State game and not wanting to show up next week. I can't remember the exact question.
Yeah.
And he said if you've already lost excitement after one game, you probably weren't that excited to begin with.
Right, and we've been talking about this podcast, and Jay, I know that you can allude to this too, is the fact that the very fact this is a rebuilding process, and I'm not making excuses for Houston.
Dave, you tell those people you're recording the podcast.
It's not me.
Jay, you tell those people you're recording the podcast.
Wait, what?
You tell those people you're recording the podcast.
Oh, I know. People are in a parking lot.
You tell them in your Hulk Hogan voice. It'll be great.
Look here, brother. I'm recording.
I'm trying to record a podcast, brother.
Jeez, people were screaming.
That's part of the fun we have doing the show. You never know what you're going to hear in the background.
But talking about people's reactions, talk about some of the reactions you heard yesterday without giving names, about some of the things people said, you know, that kind of surprised you being overly negative after one game.
I'm trying to think of the specific comments now. I was trying to put it out of my head. But yeah, pretty much, people, some friends were texting me during the game, just a couple that I will not call out. Just folks saying we suck and
it's not true.
4 wins, best case, and I was like, I said, well, what do you expect? And I said, and they're like, not this. I said, to be honest, I said, as far as what we allowed is in terms of the points, I said it's about what I expected. And I said we didn't score as much as I thought we would, but I said you throw in that the touchdown where we fumbled and then another missed opportunity there with the block in the back, and we're right there at 20 points where I thought we would be.
Exactly.
Yeah, my predicted score was 34-24. So.
Yeah. Well, it's just one of those things that people that don't understand football and they don't understand that how hard these coaches are coaching these kids up. Where the last 3 years you didn't have kids coaching up, and then you have like I was talking about, you have guys who wear earrings to practice. You have guys who, after 2 plays, Jay, I'm sure that you can still play. You're still in great shape, I'm sure. And they've got guys that are just not only they're not well conditioned as far as when they were coming in. I'm sure some of them are just doing whatever they're doing, but they've had to learn a new coaching staff, strength and conditioning coach that I think has done a tremendous job with them, Big John Williams, and these guys have got, that's the one thing about the culture. Can you speak to that, Jay, about the culture behind the scenes? Because I think that the casual fan doesn't realize that these guys, we're human nature. We have habits. We're creatures of habit, as you will. And if they've known they can get away with, it's like a kid. I have kids. If they know they can get away with stuff, they're going to get away with it. And they're going to kind of push your buttons. And that's what's happened the last 3 years. They've been able to do whatever they wanted to do. Now you've got a new sheriff in town who said, no, things are now my way, and they're not taking too well to that.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. Like, with the whole coaching staff, you could see there was no discipline. I mean, it was just evident, and by the results on the field showed. But when you have somebody new coming in, and, just like when I was playing and Holtz came in, everything is flipped over and completely different when you've got somebody that's going to hold you accountable, keep the team disciplined, and do things the right way. I mean, that's everything from, practice to scheduling, walkthroughs, study hall, weightlifting, going to class, meetings. I mean, everything is different when you've got somebody doing it the right way, and that's what changes the program is the culture. And I'll tell you though, like, sometimes it can change really quick, and you can see it on the field, and sometimes it may take a year or two. And when Skip came in and John Thompson had left, that first year we won 5 games. Then we built it up from there. But I knew as soon as he came in, I knew we were going to be a team that's going to start going to bowl games and having great success. You could figure that out just by coming to practice one day or sitting in a meeting. You knew the program was going to get turned around. And that's why, today, sitting after the defeat yesterday, in the scheme of things, it hurts, but this is just one game, and this program is going to have so much success and so many victories moving forward because of what that staff is going to do.
And another thing is, let's say that it's 2014, 2013, right? And you have ECU's dominant. We're expected to win with Shane Carden and Justin Hardy and company, and you lose that game to NC State. To me, I don't know about you guys, it hurts bad because it's NC State. But when we should beat them and beat them bad like we did in 2013, and maybe you stump your toe and you choke against them, to me that hurts more than it does yesterday, because I was hopeful we could win that game, but knowing how bad the program has gone, especially the 58-3 back December 1st, then you have to realize, I guess you have to be realistic and honest of, like, when you look in the mirror and you go, oh, my hair is getting gray now.
Yeah, well, what you have to do is just put it out of your mind that it's NC State.
Right.
I think that would have helped a lot. I think that's one of the things that's bothering people. Had it been just another good ACC team, let's say UVA, had it been UVA, I think, the feeling wouldn't be as bad. It was the worst possible team Mike Houston could open up with, really, to be honest with you.
Yep. Yeah, because here's another reason why it's a bad team. Now, say we won that game, then people are going to think we're going 12-0. So either way, you're right. That's a good point, Kyle. If we lose the game, it's bad. If we win the game, the expectations are wrong either way, right?
No, yeah, absolutely, for sure.
That's a good point. You want to talk about Gardner Webb?
A couple other observations, before we talk about Gardner Webb some more. A couple of observations about yesterday's game. One, the number of targets and touches that Josiah Hatfield had. He had 5 catches, which, he only had 26 yards, but they were looking to get him involved, and he was tied for the team lead with those 5 receptions along with Blake Prohl. And then you also, late in the game, granted it was only 2.5 minutes left, so you have to keep that in mind, but Reed Herring hooked up with Audie Omatosho down the left sideline, and Omatosho demonstrated his tremendous athleticism. The ball was thrown in a good spot, but he still had to go up and flip his hips and make a tremendous catch. And so don't be surprised if Omatosho, he obviously joined the program very late in fall camp, or right there, pretty much about the second scrimmage, I want to say. So do not be surprised if he's the deep threat that we really need.
And also, Jay,
guys,
I wanted to...
Guys, yeah. Hey, I'm gonna. You just said live events that just happened. I just ran into a pirate. I'm at a restaurant.
Who's there?
You guys there? You guys there? Mike Yarton.
How's it going, man?
Hold on, I'll put him on speaker.
Here we go.
Who is it? Mike who?
Mike Yarton. He's a former deep snapper, and then also an assistant strength coach with Mike Golden.
Okay,
that's exactly right.
Hey, he's right here. Special guest.
Hey, guys. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hey, Mike, you're on the Sports Objective podcast.
Do you know what you're on?
I have no idea.
Sports Objective podcast. What's your take on yesterday's game?
Not really have a take then necessarily.
Yeah.
I watched it, but I guess I was also there with a 3-year-old, so I didn't have to do too much.
Well, you had to be. Well, you were a deep snapper. I mean, so any thoughts on special teams? Oh, they played well.
I was unfortunate that they missed the second field goal in the first half. That was tough. It wasn't far off, but he had the leg for it, so I know that guy. That guy will come back strong. Everything else was average.
All right.
Finally get to see a little production in the return game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. With Tyler Sneed there from Raleigh, he had a nice game being in his hometown, and I'm sure anytime you play in front of a lot of family and friends, you want to do your best, and he did very well yesterday.
Yeah, Tyler looked great returning the ball. Had the return call back for the block in the back, and he's just super gritty.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So anyway, are you coming to the game on Saturday?
I think Mike's gone. Jay, are you still there?
Yeah, sorry guys, I was just talking to Mike.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike. That was a great cameo. That's like a movie. We had a cameo there. You never know who's coming on the Sports Objective podcast. No, that's fine.
Sorry, I'm back. Right. I'm back.
That's cool. So we have Jay. So we have with the game overall. We were talking about that with expectations. And again, folks, I just want to temper expectations. I remember Coach Logan.
Jay, Mike sounded disappointed. Is he okay? I mean,
he was. I think he said he was at the game with his kids. So I don't know if he left early. Yeah, because he was just saying, I was like, what'd you think? When we were off the phone, and he just said, he's like, I didn't get to see a whole lot of it because he was with his kid at the game. So.
Okay. I thought he was disappointed he was on the Sports Objective, even though he didn't know.
I don't think he knew what he was on. I think I put him on the spot.
It's the most listened to East Carolina podcast out there.
I don't think he realized like he was like live.
Right.
He didn't know. Like I just gave him the phone. I'm like, start talking. You're on the Sports Objective podcast, and I think he was a little confused at what was going on.
You should have just told him it was Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah. Herbie's on the line.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. So you never know that's what's great about doing a show. You never know what's going to happen. If we knew what was going to happen, we wouldn't do the show. So anyway, we'll get the train back on the tracks now. And Jay, as far as the game is concerned, overall, what are the bright spots? This is the question I've been wanting to ask you all day, so I'm going to ask it now. What takeaways, what can we build from this week, week one, going into Gardner Webb? It's kind of hard to know about the Gardner Webb game because the level of competition, I think, is tremendously different, but I'm trying to be nice. But I think the level of talent is going to be way different. It's kind of hard to, let me say this for fans this coming week, don't get too much of a high. That's what I would say. Coach Logan used to always say, don't get too high, don't get too low. You got to have kind of an even keel when it comes to emotions and expectations. And when it comes to Gardner Webb, I would say that to fans this week. This is a game that was supposed to be South Carolina, and Jeff Confer, Kyle's favorite former athletic director of all time, scheduled this game while I was out of the country. And so
that means he wasn't here to consult with you about it. It was while you were out. Yeah.
He must have consulted with you about scheduling.
Yeah, I'm really glad we're playing Gardner Webb right now. We need this W.
No. I mean, I'm okay. I'm going to go to the game regardless who it is. I'm not one of those fans. But anyway, Jay, I think we also need to temper expectations this week. If we score 55, 62 points, if it's like 62-3, we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and that's why, I like when you play the good competition, especially the first game, because you kind of see where you're at. So we know where we're at. We know there's some good things we did, and we still know there's a long way to go. And next week, I mean, I expect I've done some Gardner Webb games the past couple of years and seen them a lot, and just knowing that the talent level there compared to East Carolina. I mean, for East Carolina, it should be a game where we're in the 50s. It should be a lopsided victory. So in saying that, the team has to go out and execute, but that's the type of game it should be. But whether it's 50-0 or no matter what the score is, in the back of our minds, we know there's a lot of things we need to shore up, and still it's going to take some time. And fans, they can't get too excited if we win or or whatever happens, like, because there's still a long way to go.
Dan, I'm trying to remember when you were here. Did you guys have to deal with any weeks where there was an impending hurricane? And if so, how was that handled by Coach Holt and the staff? Did y'all just go through everything as normal and not talk about it, ignore it, or what?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We did during camp, actually, with Thompson one year. We didn't have any where we had to leave. We actually didn't have any where we had to, like, leave or go somewhere else, or I don't believe we had any where, you know, we had to stop practice or do anything like that. So we were kind of lucky in that aspect. But I'll tell you, it does change things when you potentially have to move your schedule or worry about that, or, you know, the potential of rain, you know, even, you know, affecting practice. So that is a real thing, because you want to have everything regimented. And if, you know, for some reason practice is canceled outside, or you have to do something inside, or you have to go somewhere else, or you have to do it in the morning instead of, you know, practicing in the afternoon, I mean, that's a real thing. And, you know, and I'll tell you, I mean, it's kind of a side topic, but, you know, the other thing for me that's real is, you know, class schedule too. It's when you have, let's just say you've got practice in the afternoon, and if you have to change it, or you got to, you know, it affects your class schedule as well. Like, these kids, it's not like they're able to take naps all day and get rested up. You know, when your schedule gets changed and you've got class or whatever, like, it's a grind throughout the week, and freshmen are in study hall. So these guys, you know, it's the recovery from week to week is a huge thing, but when the schedule changes potentially with a hurricane or with any weather, it really can throw you off.
Yeah, and the forecast right now is for that thing to stall out and then potentially come up this way around Thursday. Yeah, so you hope to God, you know, it doesn't. Let's hope it stays out to sea. But if it does come and affect Eastern North Carolina, you know, and it is on Thursday, you hope it's not anything catastrophic where it messes up for us to get a chance to play the game on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday's forecast is
Saturday's
to 79.
Beautiful.
It's going to be beautiful, 79 degrees or something.
Yeah, but if there's flooding or power outages, Dave, that would create issues. And so let's hope the Hurricane Dorian or whatever it's called,
Dorian, right?
Yeah, doesn't affect Eastern North Carolina or anywhere on the East Coast for that matter.
Hey, well, if we need to make smart decisions, we can always consult Whit Babcock. I'm sure he can tell us what we need to do.
or
maybe we can get Staten back on the line, either one.
Yeah, we actually need to have Whit back. Since he controls everything, he's the master of all and the knower of all things. We need to call him and say, can we play the game on Saturday? I know you're in Virginia Tech, but you make all the decisions for East Carolina. So can we play the game? Is it okay?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And then tell them and then say sue me when you get there.
Yeah, sue me. Yeah, exactly. That's why that's what great leadership is all about. When you have a great chancellor, who should have never been a chancellor, but anyway, moving right along. We're moving forward now. You have a chancellor who says sue me, and the new chancellor is moving students into the dorms in August. I mean, you know, which one would you take? So I'll just leave it at that. That's enough said. Drop the mic, but. We want to talk about the game and the takeaways. I know that with Gardner Webb, Jay, I heard Jeff Charles say, our good buddy who's going to be on the Pirate Preview this week, he said there's, I believe, 17 returning starters for Gardner Webb. That's all I know at this time. I hadn't even had a chance to – Bubba, I'm sure, stayed up all night doing the research, but I haven't had a chance to even look at Gardner Webb for this week.
Yeah, Bubba's in fact researched both Gardner and Webb.
Like William and Mary.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about the Bulldogs?
Is this to me or Bubba?
To you,
Jay.
I mean, you know, whenever you have experience, that's always a good thing. But you know, just back to what I was saying, as far as the talent,
yeah,
it should be a mismatch. It should be a mismatch. So, you know, I'm not trying to sit here and act like it's in the bag, but, you know, East Carolina, this is going to be a game where they need to come out and execute and worry about the mistakes they made. And if they come out there with the right intensity and focus, you know, this should be a big win.
And not only that, but Jay, here's another point to make. There's been times in the past with East Carolina where we played around with guys we shouldn't have, teams that we should knock out early. And we should need to make sure that we go ahead and knock them out early and not give them a chance to be in the game or struggle against them when we should put them away and put them away as soon as we can.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing in the past, when that didn't happen. I think that's something to really look for in this game is come out, start swinging from the beginning of the game and put it away. And I think that's something, Coach Houston's going to talk to the team about. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You got to play with the same level and the standard. I've heard him say the standard's the standard. So, this game, this Saturday, they should come out with the same intensity that they did against NC State yesterday, It shouldn't matter if they think they're going to win or not or who they're playing.
Jay, what are some other games from around the country that caught your attention yesterday? To me, Coach Sean Elliott and Georgia State going into Neyland Stadium in Knoxville as 29-point underdogs, I believe it was, and upsetting the Tennessee Volunteers. I think one of the most shocking upsets I've seen in college football in recent years.
I cannot believe how bad Tennessee looked. I mean,
it was terrible. And Georgia
State, they were 2-10 last year. What'd you say?
And the Georgia State looked cocky in the second half almost.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they should have won because that game was 38-23. They just scored that last-second touchdown.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Tennessee, that was pathetic. I mean, that was just bad. And Georgia State, they were 2-10 last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like they're good. So Tennessee, I don't know. I mean, I know they've got a run of coaches over there, but I just, even though that's only one game, I don't think Pruitt's going to be the guy there if you're losing to them and you look that pathetic. There's something wrong there.
Do you think it's in the realm of possibility if they were to turn around and lose to BYU this week, they could fire Jeremy Pruitt after 2 games into the season?
I mean, I don't think they would, but they should. Because I would, but, again, there's the whole money aspect of it and all that stuff.
They got plenty of that.
Yeah, Tennessee is one of those teams that they have they don't have the amount of teams in North Carolina that we do. They have a ton of a fan base, ton of giving, the facilities and whole 9 yards. I just don't understand why. They've got one of the best football stadiums in college football. Beautiful. I've been there twice, and I don't understand why they can't have.
One thing, Dave, they should have left. Bubba, help me out, Coach.
Greg Schiano.
No, before that, the gentleman that was a candidate for our coaching vacancy, depending on who you.
Yeah, Butch Jones.
They should have left Butch Jones alone and never fired him. He had one bad year and they fired him, and I thought he was doing a solid job there.
Yeah, and he was doing better than he certainly was doing better than what they have now.
He didn't lose to Georgia State.
No. I think that's a program to watch. Another one, Bubba, you guys had sent me in the group text. What's going on in South Carolina? We had a situation where North Carolina beat South Carolina.
Yeah.
Speaking of a really bad team last year, North Carolina was terrible. They even lost to us, and they fire Larry Fedora. They bring back Mac Brown. South Carolina, didn't they have hashtag fire Will Muschamp?
Yeah.
I've never been a big Will Muschamp fan.
No.
I was shocked yesterday when North Carolina won that game. I know it didn't, not to the level of Georgia State beating Tennessee, but it did surprise me. Jay, did that one surprise you?
Yeah, I was shocked, especially with the freshman quarterback. South Carolina shouldn't. North Carolina wasn't good. I know things are different now, but yeah, that shocked me big time.
Bubba, what did you think of that one?
Same thing. That's what Sam Howell, tremendous talent, but like Jay said, true freshman quarterback, and you could tell with the way North Carolina was approaching things in that game offensively for a big part of it before they opened it up some in the second half when they had to. And then Howell did end up having some solid numbers. He ended up throwing for, I want to say, it was about 230 or 40 yards, and I really don't think he had an issue taking care of the football, which was big. But the Gamecock fans were fired up to say the least, and who can blame them?
Yeah, and then besides Georgia State, there was some other. I hate the term Group of Five and Power Five. So, but there was some other upsets yesterday, and some so-called Group of 5 schools to recognize. Besides Georgia State beating Tennessee, Wyoming, who's built a nice program there the last couple of years with North Dakota State's old head coach. They had a nice win over Missouri. Boise State was getting just bitch slapped by Florida State, and then come all the way back to win the game and beat the Seminoles down in Tallahassee. That's impressive.
That great coach in Florida State, right?
Willie Taggart, yes, we know you love Willie Taggart.
I do.
Bubba, what were you going to do? You had something
I was going to add something before we moved on from the Boise State Florida State game. Like you said, it was 31-13, and new coordinator there in Kendall Briles, and the Seminoles had 3 explosion plays for touchdowns. But looking at those stats from that game, outside of those 3 explosion plays, they were 1 of 12 on third downs. Ooh. And then they ran for just 99 yards. And Boise State's 23 unanswered points were behind a true freshman quarterback, 30 of 51 for 407, and Boise State had 621 yards, 38 first downs.
Wow,
that's impressive. To go down there and do that is, and then the conference, some conference brethren. On Thursday night, the Cincinnati Bearcats took care of business in really dominant fashion against UCLA. They the score didn't get too out of hand, but Cincinnati really dominated that game against UCLA, and it's a nice win for the Bearcats. In Memphis yesterday, in a bit of a sloppy, low-scoring game, but nonetheless they beat Ole Miss 15-10. So nice win for Memphis. Guys, is it Jay, Bubba? Is there any other scores out there that caught y'all's eye?
As far as that Memphis game, a little bit more about it. You talk about it being sloppy. Patrick Taylor led the Tigers 27 carries for 128 yards, and then they ran for nearly 200 as a team. As far as Ole Miss is concerned, their new offensive coordinator is Rich Rodriguez, and they were held to 173 total yards. So
yeah, that you can tell Rich Rod maybe hadn't called plays in a while being a head coach.
And then a little bit more around the American. You talked about that win that Cincinnati had over UCLA for a second straight year, and they limited the Bruins. Chip Kelly's offense to just a little over 200 yards, and the Bearcats ran for 175. We've already talked about how Tulane picked up a win 42-14 over FIU, an FIU team that's supposed to have a solid season under Butch Davis, who's done such a tremendous job there. We talked about how UConn snuck by Wagner 24-21. UCF did what you would expect them to do with Florida A&M. It was 62.
They got Florida Atlantic this weekend.
Right, and it was 62-0, and it could have been much worse. And then on Friday, Wisconsin absolutely destroyed USF 49-0. The Bulls only had 9 first downs and a little over 150 total yards. Michigan State, who's ranked 18th, took down Tulsa 28-7. The Spartans were held to 303 total yards, but Tulsa only had 80 total yards of offense. And listen to this, on the ground, like we were talking about the other day, Kyle, when it happened, that's what, -73 rushing.
Yeah, when East Carolina plays Tulsa, nobody might not run for any yards.
Wow.
Yeah, let's hope by game 12 that we have some semblance of a running game, but we'll see.
I think we'll do well against them.
And then yesterday, outside of that Memphis Ole Miss game, the other games in the American, there was one more of note. SMU held off the Red Wolves of Arkansas State 37-30. Shane Buechele, he threw for over 350 yards and weirdly enough, no touchdowns. And then Temple and Navy collected wins over FCS opponents. Navy taking down Holy Cross 45-7, and that was, of course, Pirates game in their American opener on September 14th when we travel up to Annapolis. And then Temple, in their first game under Rod Carey, rolled up nearly 700 yards of offense and beating Bucknell 56-12.
Who did they beat, Bubba?
Bucknell.
Okay, Bucknell. Okay. Arkansas State, that win SMU had, if people, don't follow the Sun Belt at all, Arkansas State's a good program. They're good every year. Blake Anderson's a hell of a coach. And they played inspired football yesterday. Blake Anderson lost his wife about a week ago to cancer. And that was in Jonesboro, Arkansas. So that was a really nice win for SMU that may be a little underappreciated.
A couple other games kind of more on a national scale, one of which involved a so-called Group of 5 team beating a Power 5 team. How about Nevada on, I guess that was Friday night?
Yeah.
Coming back from down 17 to beat Purdue and Coach Brom on a 56-yard field goal as time expired.
Yeah, great moment. I watched that live, Bubba. You were on the phone. I was giving you the play-by-play. And that was a lot of fun to watch Nevada keep that 56-yard field goal to win it. And I think I mentioned earlier, I already mentioned Wyoming beat Missouri. So it was a nice weekend for the Mountain West as a whole. And
then kind of some games where upsets did not happen, but where FBS or some P5 teams were on the brink. Number 21 Iowa State's such high expectations with Matt Campbell and the Cyclones, and they survived the scare, winning in triple overtime over Northern Iowa, 29-26. And then you had Les Miles in Kansas barely escaping Indiana State. West Virginia had to come from behind in the second half to take down Mike Houston's former team, JMU.
Yeah.
They led 7-3 at halftime, and then West Virginia did win 20-13. But listen to this, guys, and this is reflective, and this is to take nothing away from Kurt Signetti, who did such an excellent job at Elon before taking over for Coach Houston at JMU. But JMU outrushed the Mountaineers yesterday in Morgantown, 172-34.
Yeah.
So that shows you, I mean, one, it's a quality coaching, Coach Signetti, but just also the Jimmies and Joes that the Dukes have that the Pirates are potentially without right now, or just at least unproven at this point. And then the JMU was still able to about win that ball game despite having 3 turnovers.
Yeah, would have been a huge upset for James Madison. It would have been a terrible start for the Neil Brown era in Morgantown.
Yeah, that raises a point, Jay. These guys actually, when you hear about Mike Houston, one of the strengths I've heard about Mike Houston, you talk to the people at Lenore Ryan right now, talk to the people at the Citadel, talk to people at James Madison. All 3 of those programs will tell you that he left the program better than he found it, and on top of that, the program is still doing well because of Mike Houston. That fares well for us with Mike Houston here at East Carolina, meaning he's not the kind of guy that will do a quick build and then get out of here.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's going to have this program rolling. I think next year we'll see, we're going to see big improvements 3 years. I mean, I think we're going to be, we're going to be talking about this team potentially being in the top 25 in 3 years. I mean, that's how highly I think of him and what he's going to do. But you're right. I mean, the way he's going to build it, he's not going to build it just on recruiting or just on scheme. It's going to be built the right way. He's going to get it set up where it's something that, if he ever left, it would be sustainable, hopefully, with the new coach coming in. I know throwing out some hypotheticals there, but he's going to do it the right way.
Yep.
A lot of fun. So you guys, can we make predictions on whether or not we're going to play the game next week? Not even about.
Oh man,
I'll put you on the.
I hope so, Dave. With this hurricane, it has been insane.
Yeah.
They thought it was going to hit Florida. Now they think it's going to spill out over the Bahamas and come up to North Carolina. I constantly look at models. A great website, guys, SpaghettiModels.com or Mike's weather page. Great detail up there if you like to read models and kind of do your own forecast rather than just watch the local weatherman. Some of the models that I saw this morning, I hadn't checked lately, but like the Canadian model, the GSN, the Euro model, etc. A lot of these model runs kind of are starting to push it again back towards North Florida. So the forecast right now is still North Carolina, but I don't know what the storm's going to do. But to answer your question, I'll say as of right now, yeah, we're going to play the game Saturday. But I tell you, if that thing comes barreling through here as a direct hit as a Category 3 or stronger, I'd be surprised if we played.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think we'll play the game. I don't know how I'll tell you what my big concern is, and this sounds bad. I'm not talking about, as far as if you look at East Carolina, for the very first game where Mike Houston, he wanted to sell out. I think we still play the game. I'm just concerned about the attendance. I'm not saying I'm not concerned about the residents of Eastern North Carolina. Don't get me misunderstand me. I'm just saying if you look from East Carolina's perspective, we've been anticipating having the opening of the Southside Project, and now it's called the Bank Tower.
Right.
Mike Houston's first game is kind of like a big moment for us, for our university. And so I want to make sure people don't say, I'm not saying that that's more important than the people of Eastern North Carolina. That's my number one concern. But if you look at the game itself, I'm hoping we could have at least 35,000 for, I think, Bubba, didn't we talk back in the spring that we were hoping for, I was saying 35, and you said you think we'd have more than that a few months ago?
Yeah, I was saying that I would certainly hope for 40, but yeah, I'm like you. I would not be surprised. In fact, I would be surprised if we get to 40 at this point. Please prove me wrong, Pirate Nation. And Dave, after you're finished, there's actually a from the helm letter from
John Gilbert.
John Gilbert today that addressed that, and I wanted to read a couple of sentences.
Go for it, yeah.
Specifically addressing attendance. Okay, he just said season ticket holders have increased from a season ago, but we're a long way from where we want to be. As I have written many times before, give us an opportunity to win you back. If you don't have season tickets, come to the opener and take in the atmosphere and excitement surrounding our football program. Give us your feedback. It's going to take all of Pirate Nation to give us the best chance to be successful on and off the field.
Yeah, and also, guys, in that letter, he mentions tomorrow there will be detailed information available about new things at Dowdy Ficklen, including new friendly pricing on concessions. So look for that tomorrow at ECU. I guess we'll drop this podcast today, Sunday. So, Look for that Monday on Labor Day at ECUPirates.com.
And Jay, about your as far as your games coming up, can you preview that for Pirate Nation so we can watch you? And definitely, we love watching the games and following your career.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks so much. For the Memphis game coming up against Southern, I mean, I'm excited to see it, and kind of just a little preview on that is back to Bubba, what he was saying. That Taylor, that running back looks good. Memphis looks legit. So I mean, I think it's going to be Memphis should be, the team that's the most athletic, that's bigger, so Southern's going to have to be able to execute and, try to get the game into the fourth quarter and create turnovers. But I'm excited to be at that one and be at the Liberty Bowl. And then for the Tulane game, they're playing Missouri State. It's going to be kind of the same thing. They're going to have the size advantage. Anytime you're facing a school that's in the FCS or, one that's a smaller school, they're going to have to create turnovers. They're going to have to stay in the game till the fourth quarter and, limit the penalties. So, I'm just excited to see these teams, in their stadiums and see how they compare to East Carolina after seeing them yesterday. So I'm really looking forward to it and already started prepping for both games.
Should be really interesting, and I know you're a fan of the game and a student of the game. So, Jay, thank you, man. I know that we like to talk. What
time is that Memphis game next weekend?
That's at 11 a.m. Central, so 12
o'clock Eastern. So we play next Saturday night against Gardner Webb at 6. So you can put it on ESPN Plus, on ESPN 3 on your ESPN app at 12 o'clock Saturday, and listen to Jay call that game against Memphis.
Thanks so much,
guys. Against Southern.
That's right. Good luck on the broadcast. I know you're going to kick booty, Jay. You're a Pirate. That's what you do. And thank you so much for being on with us. We have fun with you, and I hope you won't be a stranger and come back on this season.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thanks, guys. I had a blast. And we'll continue to get some more victories here throughout the season. So look forward to talking to you guys soon.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. All right, Kyle and Bubba, you have any final thoughts before we go?
No, just go Pirates, and looking forward to the game against Gardner Webb, and hopefully that Hurricane will take a sharp right and stay out to sea.
Sounds good to me. What about you, Bubba?
Not a whole lot. I'll just reiterate what Coach Houston said yesterday after the game. Remember, if that killed your excitement, then you probably weren't too excited to begin with. Now, obviously, every family and individual has their own circumstances, but unless you have something really going on where you can't be at Dowdy Ficklen Stadium next weekend, then make it a point to be there.
It's going to be fun again. Please get your tickets, fans, to ECUPirates.com. You can call old-fashioned like me. I call 1-800-ECU. You can do that as well.
About every other time I try to call 1-800-ECU, I misdial it and call Equal Bank. I don't know what I misdial, but it happens pretty regularly.
Just remember, we'll have to get the actual numbers for you, pal, so you'll get track of that. All right, guys, good luck to the Pirates this week, and hopefully we can dodge a bullet, if you will, about Hurricane Dorian. It seems to be this time of year we always have to worry about in North Carolina, especially eastern North Carolina, obviously, with the hurricanes. So we'll see how we do with that. In the meantime, for Jay Sonnhalter, Kyle from the Grange Barber, and Bubba Rosenbaum, I am Dave Richmond for the Sports Objective Podcast.
You've been listening to the Sports Objective Podcast. Join us next time as the guys will be objective, and the objective is sports.